Welcome back, viewers. We're delighted to have you join us for part 2 of our exploration into the hidden theories of the Coraline. If you haven't watched the previous parts yet, we highly recommend you do so to catch up on the discussion. Today we're diving into more mysteries, so stay tuned. Thanks for being with us. Number 6. Hold on to your hats, because we're about to take a deep dive into Easter eggs like you've never seen before. Now, we promise you, we are not going off the deep end here. We've got solid evidence to back up everything we are about to say. But first, remember the director's golden rule: everything is directed and nothing is random. With that in our back pocket, let's get started. Now, you've probably noticed that this story is sprinkled with Shakespearean references. It's like a little treasure hunt throughout the film. But there's one that takes the cake, especially for its hilarity. It's all about the dogs in Miss Spink and Miss Forcible's apartment and how it connects to the story of Macbeth, and by extension, Coraline's tale. It might sound like a stretch, but bear with me, it's a journey worth taking. So we've got 3 dogs, right? And each one has its name tag on full display. That got us thinking. Given the heavy Shakespearean influences in the story, could these names have any connection to the bard's works? Turns out they do, and it's Macbeth. We've got Angus and Hamish right there in Macbeth. Now, when I searched for Jack in Shakespeare's Macbeth, we didn't hit any jackpot. But we did stumble upon a 90s BBC TV show called Hamish Macbeth, where the main character's dog is a West Highland Terrier named Jack. Now, Miss Spink is British, so it's not far-fetched that she might have watched this show. And when we looked up what that West Highland Terrier breed looks like, bingo, it's an exact match. These dogs are practically twins. Now, let's circle back to the Macbeth references. Why are they there? Well, in Macbeth, at the end, a severed head is delivered to Malcolm, and he's essentially back in control, everything's hunky-dory. We don't get a severed head in Coraline, but we do get a severed hand. When Coraline tosses that hand down the well, it's like she's reclaiming her power, just like Malcolm did in Macbeth. There's a fascinating connection right there. Now let's dive into something a bit eerie. Remember that monologue Miss Spink and Miss Forcible perform from Hamlet? It's a crucial moment, but there's a twist. They perform the entire monologue, except for the very last line. It talks about the beauty and wonder of the world, but it concludes with the word dust. Yet they stop just short of uttering that last line. Why? That last line is, "And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust?" It's a big deal that they leave it out, because when Coraline tries to escape and takes the other wybie with her, what happens to him? He turns to dust. It's like the missing puzzle piece that ties it all together. Number 7. You might think this is common knowledge, but let's shine a light on something that a commenter brought up. They're talking about the medal that Mr. Bobinsky wears, and it's a real eye-opener. You see, that medal he's sporting is the exact same one given to those brave souls who cleaned up the Chernobyl disaster. It's a fascinating connection when you put it side by side. Here's his medal, and here's the real deal. Take another look at his medal, and you'll see the resemblance. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Pay attention to the background. Notice how foggy it is, like you can't see the sky at all. This is in the real world, right? It's all a bit hazy. But when Coraline steps into the other world, it's like a complete transformation. It's the middle of the day when she decides to venture through the little door while her mum's away, out to make some mischief. But here's the kicker. When she arrives in the other world in the middle of the day, what do we see? Stars. A crystal clear night sky. It's a puzzle that makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why does this happen, wybie? They say it's so deep, and that's got us all scratching our heads.
See? It's supposed to be so deep. If you fell to the bottom and looked up, you see a sky full of stars in the middle of the day. Huh.
Number 8. Ever realise that the director of Coraline had a master plan to keep us feeling a tad uncomfortable throughout the movie? Let's spill the beans. Remember the message from the director himself, Henry Sellick: everything is directed and nothing is random. Now, why do we feel more at ease in one room than another? It's not just because one's painted pink. Let me clue you in with a quote from the director. He's telling us that every shot is carefully designed to make us feel more uneasy in the real world. That's why this kitchen feels so much smaller than the other world's kitchen. When we meet the real Dad for the first time, hand on the door, right in the centre of the room. And guess what? The same goes for the other Dad, hand on the door, right in the centre. And when we step into Bobinsky's apartment for the first time, Coraline takes a tumble. Now flip the switch. When we step into the other Bobinsky's apartment, she falls again. It's like a mirror image. When we first glimpse at his apartment, our view pans to the left. In the other world, it's the opposite. We start on the left and move up and to the right. It's like we're going through a curtain and being led down to a stage. Now this is brilliant. It's all about making us feel uncomfortable in the real world so that we crave the other world, just like Coraline does. It's an intriguing subtlety tucked away in the background, something that works on a subconscious level. And here's another neat detail, that entire scene where they're all wearing the ring. You know, the one Coraline needs to retrieve at the end of the movie. It's right there, staring at us the whole time. Number 9. You know Coraline is filled with quirky and enchanting music, right? There's that curious jazz piece that floats through the garden. Then there's the twitchy, witchy tune sung right at the beginning of the movie.
Girl, I think you are so nice. I give you bowls of porridge and I give you bowls of ice cream.
Why don't...
But let's talk about the undisputed champ of songs. We are just going to cue it up so we can all have a quick listen.
Making up a song about Coraline. She's a peach, she's a doll, she's a pal of mine. She's as cute as a button in the eyes of everyone who ever laid their eyes on Coraline. When she comes around exploring, Mom and I will never ever make it boring. Our eyes will be on Coraline.
Oh, now that's a fantastic song, isn't it? But there's another tune, one that plays when Coraline strolls through the house. The beldam herself even sings and hums it at various points. Here it is. Surprisingly, it turns out that this song is nothing but gibberish. You heard that right? Gibberish. Why? Well, because they wanted it to sound familiar yet unsettling, in a way that you can't quite put your finger on. Number 10. Oh my goodness. Yes, let's dive right into the topic of Coraline's mittens. We had the incredible opportunity to see these tiny puppets up close. You wouldn't believe just how minuscule those mittens and their fingers are. So, who was the creative genius behind crafting those gloves, you wonder? Well, it turns out Henry Sellick enlisted the talents of a young mom from the heartland of America to make Coraline's gloves. How adorable is that? She specialises in crafting these itty-bitty knitted wonders. Her name? Alfia Crome. Take a look at these tiny items she knit for Coraline. Seriously, look at those tiny fingers. Can you even fathom how delicate that thread had to be? Yes, you heard it right. Thread, not yarn. Alfia is so skilled at crafting miniatures that she can even outfit bugs. Those are ladybug jackets, folks. Now, here's another little nugget of trivia. Coraline required not just 1 or 2 pairs of gloves, but a grand total of 6 pairs. Wrap your head around that for a moment. Over 6,000 hands for Coraline. That's double the hands of most humans. But there's one more intriguing question that lingers. Who is that enigmatic woman we see in the store? That wraps up part 2 of our conversation. We hope you found it informative and engaging. If you missed any previous parts, don't forget to check them out. And of course, stay tuned for the upcoming segments where we'll continue to explore more intriguing theories. Thanks for watching, like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.